What's good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. We are back here for another one. I hope everyone is having a fantastic start to the week. It was a great championship Sunday in the National Football League. Uh, Bengals and Rams. I mean, good God, if you called that before the season started, I give you a round of applause. And I don't know if everyone saw that, but there's a picture going around the internet. I guess someone played a 2-game parlay and they put $20 down and they guessed correctly the final score in the Cincinnati game and the Rams game, and that $20 turned into over $500,000. So it was definitely a good weekend for someone out there. But guys, there's just a ton of stuff right now. The last 24 hours has really started to pick up momentum in the Dolphins head coaching search. And I'm just going to be flat out and honest with you. It really does seem I had my thumb on this situation the whole time. I mean, I'm not even talking about stuff I've heard. It's just, the vibe I'm getting is when I told all y'all last week, remember what I said? If Dable's still around, if Quinn's still around, if McDaniel's still around, they haven't made a move. And, you got to start asking why. Is it really they view Mike McDaniel that much higher than Dable? I don't think it was that much. You know what I mean? So, and that's when I started bringing up my Harbaugh theory of why they're waiting for Harbaugh. And guys, it's starting to look like there was legitimate momentum to him. And I just got to say, not only will I be so ecstatic if we bring in Jim Harbaugh to the Miami Dolphins as a head coach, but for a guy who, while Brian Flores was still the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, remember a couple of days prior to that, I put out a video saying why Ross will pursue Harbaugh if he's available. And now you look at how everything's played out. The pursuit is beginning, my friends. The pursuit is beginning. I'm telling y'all right now, Ross is going to get a seat at that table. That was always an option. And it looks like that's going to happen. We got a lot to go over. I mean, I was told something today, and I'm so mad at myself for not posting it directly to the Patreon, because then it popped up in a tweet about an hour after I was told it. We'll go after that over that tweet. And I can at least confirm the tweet because I heard the same thing from a totally different person. There's just a lot going on, and I know for a fact, and I want you to follow me here right now. There was information I put on the Patreon yesterday, and I know for a fact that information and the specifics of it was relayed to someone in the media who has since come out with an article today basically insinuating that Harbaugh is on the table due to what this person heard. So kind of crazy thing. And I actually do have a couple articles to go over today. So it's kind of crazy how that's playing out. So we'll talk about all that. It's just, and Mike McDaniel, the crazy thing is Mike McDaniel, he was scheduled to have his interview today, and there's still no word on if he's completed it. Like literally, there's no word right now. So, I know they are about 3 hours behind. But it's real interesting how all this is playing out. And I got actually a clip I want to play for all of y'all. When we do talk about Mike McDaniel, and it's actually from former Redskins wide receiver Pierre Garçon, and you need to hear what he actually says. It's actually really good what he has to say about him. So we'll play that. Man, we just got a ton to go over, and I'm just so happy that all of y'all are spending some of your Monday night with me. I mean, hold on a sec here. Hold on. What is going on? Your boy is having a breakdown. Okay, hold on. Let me get this. Pardon. Give me 1 sec, guys. I'm just pulling something up. Put that down. Sorry, I'm just pulling something up, guys. Give me a sec here. Okay, you can get closed. Beautiful. So yeah, I just appreciate that because people are saying that there's not a lot going on, but if you actually have been following the past 24 hours, there's been a ton of movement and it's starting to come to fruition. What I was saying, I mean, there was clearly a reason why they were waiting around. There was clearly a reason why they said, you know what, Dable, go ahead, because it came out right, like. If you guys have been following, there's one guy who's been a part of, he's been on top of it from the beginning, GT Bobby Thompson, and he's actually got a lot of stuff right. And, one of the things he said, and I believe I already showed you guys all the tweet and stuff, one of the things he said was, um, that, Miami had the chance to swoop in and they didn't for Dable. And yet everyone is hearing they really like Dable and that was their number one candidate. And the fact of the matter is they wanted to play this process right. You know what I mean? So they were willing to pass off Brian Dable because, and I'm telling you, it was deeper. It was deeper, my friends. It was much deeper than Mike McDaniel and Kellen Moore. Man, I'm going to tell y'all how I feel. I feel Kellen Moore is just a placeholder. I don't think he has a chance. Like, I legitimately don't think he has a chance. Pardon me, hold on. Yeah, I've been told from the beginning he doesn't really have a chance. So, woo! And we do have Jordan Schultz's last tweet. We are going to read it. Let's start off with Mike McDaniels because he was the candidate today that was interviewing. Let's start off on a Mike McDaniel love fest because y'all know I love this guy. If I was going for one person, you know who it would be, okay? And y'all already know what time it is. So let's start off with Mike McDaniels, guys. Smash that like button, subscribe if you're new. If you'd like to donate, paypal.me/Phinside. Become a Phinside the NFL Patreon, patreon.com/Phinside the NFL. That's where you'll get first breaking news. I'm going to be changing the mod stuff because we'll talk about that eventually. Something's going on with the mods. But factfiles.com, use code Phinside, save 20% off your order. And then Backroom Collection, use code Reason, save 10% off your order. Let's start off with the homie Jordan Schultz because we got a couple tweets I want to go through today. And let's start off with this. So it starts off, we're going to come to this one in a sec. But his tweet earlier today, guys, it said several NFL executives have told me Mike McDaniel is the best fit for the Dolphins head coaching job, with one saying he thought McDaniel would get the job. Miami, I'm told, is enamored with McDaniel's innovative running game and how he'd maximize rising star Jalen Waddle. What have I said? What have I literally said about the creativity of him and Jalen Waddle? What have I said? I told y'all. Said that from the rip. That was one of the things that would sucker them in. But here is what happened just moments ago. What Jordan Schultz tweeted out. He said, from a source, Mike McDaniel, Dolphins interviews spanned much of the day, with McDaniel stressing to Chris Greer his plans on how to unlock Tua Tagovailoa with a quicker passing game, and he believes he can win with Tua Tagovailoa. So right now, I told y'all, Mike McDaniel, if you're going first time head coach, he's the guy. He is the guy. Listen, if you're not going to go Harbaugh, this is the guy. But I'm going to tell y'all right now, they're going to wait on Harbaugh. I truly believe that. But I'm fine. Hey, if they turn around and hire Mike McDaniel right now, I'm fine with that. I'm sorry. I'm fine with that. Let's go. I think personally, my whole thing is I knew this would be the situation. I told all of y'all, Jalen Waddle, the running game. We can't establish a run game here. This guy will walk in, he's gonna fix the offensive line. But on top of this, you look at this, and now he's telling them, I mean, whether he's telling them the truth or not, he's telling them what they want to hear. And you know what's crazy? I believe he can unlock Tua Tagovailoa. I think Tua has a higher ceiling than Jimmy Garoppolo. I just do. And I think Mike McDaniel, I've told y'all from the beginning, that whole hybrid West Coast offense is perfect for Tua's skill set. That's why he's looking at him. Guys, Kyle Shanahan, I told you guys this before if you've been listening to me the whole time. The 49ers were sniffing around Tua Tagovailoa when we were talking about Watson last year before they made the trade for draft picks to acquire Trey Lance. They were sniffing around Tua Tagovailoa. I know for a fact Kyle Shanahan's been a fan of Tua Tagovailoa. And it's a matter of, I mean, you know how coaches are. They think they can fix anyone, but it's a matter of an offensive mind thinking, hey, I know how I can get the most out of him compared to that defensive minded guy who can't put together an offense or an offensive coaching staff. That's what whether they're right or wrong, that's up for y'all to debate. I'm just telling you that's what the thought process is. And, now he's telling them I can unlock Tua Tagovailoa. So, you know, if you look at his offense, if you look at the schematics of it, Tua is a scheme fit. All right. From day one since I joined YouTube, me and EM been stressing to y'all scheme fit matters. If you're gonna go pro style, West Coast is with Tua. West Coast would be the style you would go and attempt with. I've been saying that from the rip. Why do you think I've been saying, a lot of people talk about Sean Payton and I've agreed with them because of how they manufacture space. But why do you think the other option I always give people is what do you think he'd look like under Kyle Shanahan? Darth Vader, if Harbaugh is hired, who's his OC and his DC? The names I've heard is Pep Hamilton as offensive coordinator and Vic Fangio as defensive coordinator. That's what I've been told. Okay, Chase has a real quick question. And even before this came out, my gut tells me we make the hire on Thursday. We give him 24 hours after National Signing Day. And I'm talking about Harbaugh. Now, if McDaniel is not allowed to leave Miami without a contract tonight, I'm fine for that. But if you look at to his game, he is the ideal fit for a West Coast scheme. Rhythmic quarterback, deadly accurate from the short to intermediate level with good ball placement. And then he's got to get consistent beyond 20 plus yards, but he's shown y'all the flashes of that accuracy. That comes down to basically a lot of its confidence right now, where his game's at, and it's mentally where he's at right now. But, Mike McDaniel, I'm going to tell you right now. Okay, first of all, I'm going to tell you guys this, and then I'm going to kill something. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Comparing Mike McDaniel to Adam Gase is one of the laziest takes I've ever heard in my whole life. What, because they don't call plays? Do you understand the work Mike McDaniel has brought in? Adam Gase never reinvented a championship winning offense like the Shanahan offense. Okay? He never reinvented and added a wrinkle into the run game that caused the league problems, i.e. the inside zone toss run that they did this year. Okay. You never saw. Did you ever see Adam Gase as an offensive coordinator use a player the way Deebo Samuel is used? Did you ever see a fifth round running back like Elijah Mitchell produce the way he produces under an Adam Gase offense? No. It's like I've been telling y'all, Adam Gase at this point of his career was not as intelligent and never will be as Mike McDaniel. Listen, I said from the rip when we drafted him, and I said it when I started in this YouTube community. Adam Gase lived off Peyton Manning thanking him as being like literally the first person Peyton Manning thanked in his press conference when he retired. Now, he didn't say Adam Gase made him a better quarterback. He said Adam Gase taught him how to prepare better. That's all he said. He never said, "Oh, I'm a Hall of Famer because of Adam Gase." Okay. Go look at the wide receivers that have come through under Mike McDaniel. Look at the minds he's been under: Gary Kubiak, Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan, Dan Quinn, Raheem Morris. Look at the minds this guy's worked with. Both the LaFleur brothers, obviously McVay. All right. And yet Shanahan, the only one he ever tried to block leaving was last year when we tried to snatch Mike McDaniel as our offensive coordinator. So what does that tell you in terms of how highly regarded it is? Do you realize we could be taking someone that Mike Shanahan, not Kyle, discovered, and Mike Shanahan knew how? And guys, let's talk about how good of a coach Mike Shanahan is. Okay. Do we have to? We all know the resume. All right. He understood how valuable this guy was and how key he would be to his son being successful in the NFL, that when Mike Shanahan stepped away from the game as a coach, he attached him to his son. He literally said, "Do not this is your right-hand man. Roll with this guy." I'm telling you right now, people want to sit here and say, "Oh, he's a leader of men." Well, if he wasn't a leader of men, why would George Kittle want an addendum in his contract that Mike McDaniel can't leave? Well, he's a 49er. Why did he want that? If men don't want to follow him, why did George Kittle want him in his contract that while he was a 49er, McDaniel couldn't leave? Stop with that nonsense. Just reaching, man. People just like just because it's not your guy or who you want. Listen, I said from the beginning, I want to go experience. Harbaugh is my top guy. If we go first time head coach, it's Mike McDaniel. So if it's Harbaugh or McDaniel, I'm hunky dory because I get what I wanted either way. So I'm good. I'm good. And I'm not gonna I don't want this team to pass up on the next McVay or Shanahan because some of you guys got PTSD off Gase and Flores and all these other guys. I'm good. Because the last time we hired a actual creative offensive mind was a guy named Tony Sparano. And he inserted the Wildcat and we made the playoffs. It's about time we get some creativity in Miami. The good thing about McDaniel or Harbaugh is they will build the running game and they will build the offensive line. And whether Tua is the guy or not, they will figure it out. They're qualified enough to make that decision. And whether they stick with him or whether they send him out of town in an Uber, we will roll with them because their offensive minds and their offensive resumes have earned the right to not only do that, but for us to fall in line and give them that chance. So that's where I'm at with Mike McDaniel or Harbaugh. So there you go. Mike McDaniel's interview spanned much of the day, with McDaniel stressing to Chris Greer his plans on how to unlock Tua. He wants a quicker passing game, and he believes he can win with Tua. Love it. Love it. Shout out to the homie Mike McDaniel. And then yesterday, a guy who I've talked about, GT Thompson, he's been on top of he's actually does Bucks stuff. He doesn't even do Giants or GT Bobby Thompson. He doesn't do Giants or Dolphins, but he was pretty locked on through the whole Dable thing in the past couple of days. And he said yesterday morning, as I reported, Dolphins are very high on 49ers OC Mike McDaniel, and he is considered the front runner to land the head coach job per sources. So you see that last night, then you see how the interview goes, and basically McDaniel told them what they want to hear, and laid out basically a day's worth of here's my 5-year plan. I'm going to tell you right now, Kellen Moore don't stand a chance. The only way McDaniel does not get this job if it's Jim Harbaugh throws his hat into the ring, and consider his hat thrown in the ring. And I'm going to explain to you guys exactly why. But absolutely love that Mike McDaniel, I just had a feeling Dable would flame out. And, man, I like where this coaching search is heading. I like it. McDaniel or Harbaugh? Listen, other than Caldwell, I think those were the best options on the market. I really, really do, man. Dan Quinn might have been a good option, but clearly he wasn't ready to come back. So, I like it. I like where this search is heading. Slap my ass and call me Sally. I'm happy right now. I am happy right now. So, it's awesome stuff. With the McDaniel stuff. Love it. Love every minute of it. But let's shift the last little piece on McDaniel here. Will be an article from today from PFN from this morning, because it really did talk a lot about Mike McDaniel, and I wanted to go over that with you guys. And we got a couple other articles with some key wording in we're going to talk about too. So let's start with this. I believe it is. Yeah. Okay, so this is from this morning from Adam Beasley, and it says the Miami Dolphins hope to have their new head coach hired by the end of the week. There are increasing signs that San Francisco 49ers offensive coordinator Mike McDaniel will get the job. There were widespread rumors over the weekend that Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh has emerged as a late candidate, but our understanding, based on conversations with multiple league sources and fairly obvious contextual clues, is that McDaniel is the focus of the team's search now that Dable is unavailable. You jumped the gun on that this morning, PFN. I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to show you why. McDaniel, 38, could be hired at any time. Had the 49ers beaten the Rams in the NFC Championship game, he would have been unavailable until after the Super Bowl. But with San Francisco's loss on Sunday, there's nothing stopping the Dolphins from offering McDaniel the job and him accepting it this week. Listen, if it's going to be McDaniel, it's going to be this week. I just don't think it's going to be right away. I'm telling, like, they're waiting for National Signing Day. I'm telling y'all right now. McDaniel has a second interview scheduled with the Dolphins Monday, which we obviously just talked about. He completed. He met with them prior to the wild card round of the NFL playoffs. McDaniel is one of 7 known candidates for the job. The others are Dable, who accepted the Giants head coaching job last week. Thomas Brown, Bills defensive coordinator Leslie Frazier, Vance Joseph, Kellen Moore, and Dan Quinn. Thomas Brown, the word came out yesterday that he's staying in L.A. Leslie Frazier and Vance Joseph are not in the fray anymore, and Dan Quinn is staying in Dallas. So really, it's McDaniel and Kellen Moore. It's our understanding that the Dolphins want to hire an offensive coach, with Dable, McDaniel, and Moore, the 3 known finalists. While many around the league believed last week that Dable was the number 1 target, their actions suggested they were keeping an open mind and perhaps even preferred McDaniel. They were okay with waiting until this week to interview their finalists, even if that meant missing out on Dable. That's exactly what happened. Dable accepted the Giants job Friday, just hours after the Dolphins made the formal request for a second interview. Miami could still broaden its list of finalists, but as of Monday, it seemed their choice was down to McDaniel and Moore, while with McDaniel viewed by some within the organization as the favorite. All of this is secondhand, however. None of the principals conducting the search are talking, at least publicly, which is what I've said as well, to reporters. The organization is so determined to keep its work quiet that the club personnel are not authorized to announce or confirm interviews. Again, which is what I've told you. Like people like Caldwell, Peterson, Harbaugh, if they don't have to formally request it, they will not announce it. I've told you guys that from the rip. The Dolphins are one of 9 teams that have made a coaching change this cycle. 3 have already made hires: the Giants, the Broncos, and the Bears. A 4th, the Raiders, announced Josh McDaniels today, so that's done. The Dolphins and McDaniels. The Dolphins are McDaniel's only known coach interview ever, but the team clearly sees the upside of the Yale-educated former Broncos ball boy who has helped construct an offense that didn't need elite quarterback play to reach the conference championship game. Because they're saying, if Tua doesn't work out in year 1 and you want to move off, we can draft you a guy in year 2 and go get you an elite quarterback. That's exactly what they're saying to McDaniel. So it's basically build the run game, build the offensive line, help Tua out, and go from there. That's what the thought process is right now. Donation. Sorry, my bad. Randy Constance. I'm here for the Dolphins hiring the boy Genius McDaniel. Great show. Much love. Appreciate you, Randy. Let me actually. I remember we talked, I believe, in Patreon, Randy, if I remember correctly. So let me hit you up with that wrench real quick. I got this. Let me hit you up with that real quick, bro. Okay, let's do this. Sorry, guys, 1 sec. And then we're going to get into Harbaugh because there's a ton to unpack with Harbaugh. And I'm hearing things too, and we'll get into what I'm hearing. So I don't know what PFN is talking about. Harbaugh is like, there's a reason why people are flipping right now. All right. I'm going to show you why. They jumped the gun. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to show you why. All right. There you go. I just took care of you, Randy. All right. Let's do this. Shout out for the donation too. Appreciate you, my guy. All right. Let's do this. So we'll start off with what set everyone ablaze yesterday, okay? And then I'll get into what I heard, because as soon as I saw this, I went and made a few phone calls and I heard a few things. And I'm actually waiting on a phone call right now. So Patreon may have an update tonight. I was told around 5:30, 6:o'clock that I was going to get a call tonight and some stuff. And I'll tell you what the person told me the call was going to be in regards. So, okay, this is what set everyone ablaze yesterday, and this is what really started like everyone checking into people. So, and I'm gonna go in chronological order. So get ready for the Harbaugh stuff. So Mark Carman, who before we get into it, I will show you who he is. He is, I believe, an editor for Fansided right there. And he actually is a video host, producer, and a writer for Fansided. So he does Chicago stuff. He doesn't even like do, you know what I mean? He doesn't do Vikings or Dolphins or Michigan, which makes it even, he just knows someone, right? Like, what does this person have to gain if it's not Bears related, right? So, hearing from a reliable source, Jim Harbaugh will tell the team today, tomorrow, he's leaving to be the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Could have taken the Minnesota job, preferred Miami. Outside chance Michigan pays over the top and he stays, but bet on Miami. So this sent everyone into a blaze. And so I sent this to someone who I know who's really plugged in to the organization and who's also this person is plugged in to multiple teams. And, you know, let's just put this, one of the teams he's plugged into has been rumored throughout the Harbaugh process in the head coaching search. And he actually talked to someone on said team staff and someone prominent. I'm not going to tell y'all the name, but someone prominent on that staff. And basically what I was told is that Harbaugh is quote unquote absolutely a possibility. And my guy was told by this other team's head, this other team's coach, let's call him, Jim is definitely in the mix for Miami. So I was told that about 20 minutes after this was posted, when I started digging in, and and I know that this information that I got from this person got passed off to someone in the media, and that person in the media flipped their stance on Harbaugh today because of the information they were handed, the specifics that I cannot share with you that I know, because of how credible it is of where this information comes from. Like it's like literally as credible as it gets. So, um, yeah, that's I was told this last night. So right then and there, I'm like, okay, he's in the mix. They are in this right now. And I'm like, and then I got on the phone with this person and he told me your theory was not that far off. My theory about them wanting to not only pursue him, but wait and see until a Michigan decision happens. Now, this could all change and McDaniel could get hired tonight. They could have been so blown away today, right? Because of the interview that it changed everything. I don't know. I'm happy either way because I've been reporting, from the beginning that the three guys they wanted were Dable, Quinn, and McDaniel. And then, I always said if Harbaugh is in the mix, they're gonna sit down with him. Shout out to Ramon Casillas for becoming a member. So that's what I heard in regards to that. And you know, the other thing, you know, the other thing too that's very, very interesting, um, when when you break it, this whole situation too, that I don't think enough people are really paying attention to. Now, I know it's not very much because I mean, look at the source of where it's coming from. It's Vegas. It's Vegas. It's Vegas. I get that. But the betting odds. Shout out to Joseph Sheffield for the $3 donation. He said, thanks, Reason. Keep doing you. Appreciate you, my guy. Appreciate you for showing a little love, baby. The betting odds right now, guys. I know it's not very much in terms of like, oh my God, it's betting odds. Who really pays attention to that stuff? But all of a sudden, these betting odds have massively shifted right now into Harbaugh's favor um, for Miami. And that's because, there's real traction to this stuff. And I'm going to show you why there's real traction. I ain't done. I'm far from done. And if I got some time, I may open it up to you guys for just like maybe 20 minutes, a half hour to hear your thoughts on it, because I'm going to present to you, Reason always brings the research. I always do it. I never sell you guys short, man. I always bring you the research so you can go to your people and say, here, this is why I think this is going to happen. That's if you agree with me. If you don't agree with me, hey, all the power to you. That's your choice, my friends. I put the information out there. It's up for you to either, it's up for you to do what you will with it. Believe it or don't believe it. All right. So Vegas odds right now from sportbetting.ag has Jim Harbaugh at minus 200, Mike McDaniel at plus 150, and Kellen Moore at 400. And notice how there's only 3 names on the list. No Thomas Brown. No, none of these other guys. None of that. Yes, Big Daddy. McDaniel is preach, Big Daddy. Tell these people why you can't go wrong with McDaniel. I've been trying to tell people this since this whole process started. And Jeff says tomorrow's the day, in my opinion. My friend, Jim Harbaugh will not leave Michigan before National Signing Day, which is on Wednesday. Mark my words. If he's leaving. All right. So there's the betting odds right now. So even Vegas has now shifted to Harbaugh. Even okay, DM, you don't understand gambling terms, so basically look at it this way. Jim Harbaugh is the betting favor by like over 350 points by McDaniel. That's pretty big. Like Kellen Moore, they're basically telling you Kellen Moore is a very outside shot. I'm just explaining to you in terms of favorites right now. If you read this right now, Kellen Moore is a very outside shot. Harbaugh is like a clear favorite right now. Now, everyone in the bottom is going to tell you how to make money. So everyone go ahead, and y'all want to tell them how to make money, go ahead. I'm just telling you how the favorites work, Plus is a bad thing in this situation, all right? If you don't know how odds work, plus is bad. You do not want to be plus. You want to be negative. Negative is a favorite. That's why if you see the Dolphins and the Patriots, and the Dolphins the Dolphins by by minus 3.5. That means the Dolphins are favorites, but they're really starting off the game. You see a scoreboard 0-0. They're starting off at minus 3.5 points. So when you're a minus, when you're the minus, you're the favorite. All right. So that's what that's telling you. Shout out to Ramon Casillas for I got a couple donations here. My bad. I apologize. Let's get to them. All right. Trade Howard. Use one of the picks to get Calvin Ridley. Ramon Casillas, it only takes a conditional second round pick right now. Don't even need to trade Howard, my friend. Thomas Bird, $5. Any chance Rossi's Harbaugh is dicking over Michigan and sours on him? He would do the same to us a couple years down the road. No, I'm going to explain why. My friends. There's going to be something in here where it's going to make y'all step back and be like, oh my God, this is real. Irving, $149 super sticker. Appreciate you, Irving, man. Missed you coming up, my friend. 1017, man, $10. In my opinion, Harbaugh only interviewed with the Vikings to clear Ross from purging him from Michigan, and now his name. You are on the right path, my friend, and I'm going to tell you a story when I get to that part. You are on the right path. J-Boy, those betting odds came out this morning. You are on the right path, my friend. 1017, man. You are on the right path, my friend. 110%. You have got, you are a sleuth for the day. All right? You're right on there, bro. You are 110% on there. Anyways, so guys, quickly, when we go back to that tweet that I originally showed you being this one, if you look at the timestamp, it says 2:45 p.m., okay? Literally, my friends, 12 minutes later, because I know what Armando did. Armando saw this tweet like I did and started checking in. And kudos to Armando. He got his answer 10 minutes before I did. Armando said this, and I know for a fact Armando is still one of the more plugged in guys to the Dolphins. I know that for a fact. Whether you hate him, whether you love him, don't matter. I know he's one of the more plugged in guys. He said had plugged in former Dolphins, because I had a conversation about Armando, funny enough, last week in regards to like up against like the Joe Shads and the Cameron Wolves and the Omar Kellys, and how Armando was way more. I was talking to his source how Armando's way more plugged in. So anyways, had plugged in former Dolphins employee who retains connections to the team tell me last night he expects Steve Ross will do what he can to hire Jim Harbaugh if Michigan coach is indeed considering leaving Michigan for NFL. We'll see. It's 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 real, and Nick makes the great point here. Well, he didn't make it. Uh, he he said this. Um, how is Michigan feeling right now? Whether he comes to Miami or not, he took an interview with Minnesota. Like, that's what you got to think about. How is Michigan feeling? All right. So now, this is what happened. Someone asked, I don't know if you guys know, I love Ian. His name's Ian Wharton. I think he's fantastic. Um, he actually used to work with the NFL. And he works with a betting site, but he actually used to work with the NFL, hence his name, NFL Film Study. And someone asked him about the whole thing, and out of nowhere, they asked him about Mike McDaniel, and he brought it into Harbaugh for no reason, basically. Someone asked him, "What are your thoughts on Mike McDaniel to Miami? He seems to have a lot of Twitter hype, but do you think he's a better coach than more of the other options?" And this is what Ian said. What I've been telling y'all, he fits Tua perfectly, and in theory, he's a sure bet to boost the offensive line. What I've been telling y'all, I like him as a candidate. Probably fits Miami's needs team better than more. Agree 110%. Then he pivots. That said, and this is an hour after the chatter starts. That said, there's no doubt that if Jim Harbaugh really wants an NFL job, Miami would go all out for him. Why? Who mentioned Harbaugh? Why is Ian bringing up Harbaugh when he's not even being asked about? I'm telling you right now, it's because people inside the circles know what's happening right now. Guys, I told you, I have someone connected to the Raiders. All right, very well connected to the Raiders. I was told the reason they were chasing Harbaugh is because the Vegas casinos helped facilitate the move from from Oakland to Las Vegas, because Davis is one of the poorer NFL owners. All right. And they're the ones that have been pushing for them to make it splash higher. They're the ones. And their splash higher was Josh McDaniels. Why? Because they learned Harbaugh wasn't coming. So if Harbaugh ain't coming, but he's coming back to the NFL, what's going on? Why is he interviewing with Minnesota? Doesn't make sense. So then, a verified fellow by the name of Adam Patrick, he is the editor for Fansided. He covers the Vikings. So he works for Fansided, where this all started from, and he basically corroborates what the editor for the Windy City podcast, the Bears stuff, is saying, and what he says. And this is a Vikings guy. He says if Jim Harbaugh does end up choosing the Dolphins over the Vikings, it's not too difficult to figure out why. Miami is projected to have the most cap space in the NFL in 2022. They have a young quarterback for Harbaugh to mold and a bunch of young talent on defense. It's the perfect fit for him to slide in. Just fix the offensive line, and all you do is you just fix the offensive line, and you get a running game, and he'll get you a running game. So these are even Vikings guys conceding that, yeah, if he goes there, it's clear why. It's clear why. So, all right, let's keep going. Let's keep stacking the evidence. Reason ain't done. Reason ain't done. We got a lot. Man, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things left. We ain't done. We ain't done. All right. So then Barry Jackson last night at 9:30 p.m. out of nowhere, Barry Jackson, why is he tweeting this? So Dolphins get the 29th pick in the first round because 49ers lost and can now move forward with Harbaugh, McDaniel, or Kellen Moore. So Barry Jackson is inserting Harbaugh into the finalists, and Barry Jackson next to Armando, one of the most plugged in guys in Miami. Why is he doing that? Why? Someone explain that to me. That makes zero sense. Because Rappaport has been consistent with just McDaniel and Kellen Moore. And I keep telling y'all, the issue with Rappaport, yes, he's always 110% verified. Yes, he's always 110% right. But that's because he works for the NFL and they feed him the information directly. The information they want out there, they feed out there. Do you really think they want out there that they're doing their due diligence on Harbaugh? Right? Like, do you really think? Like, come on. Yes, I saw Pelissero tweet. Yes, we'll get to it. I'm still continuing, and don't throw off my thing. I'm in my groove right now because I'm gonna prove something about um Tom Pelissero and that whole tweet and the Vikings thing. Dude, I'm telling you right now, he's not going to be the next head coach of the Vikings. It's a ploy. He's leveraging. Him and Ross are leveraging right now. Trust me on this. The Vikings are choosing to tell y'all what they're doing. They don't have to. And again, when the big guys, um, when the all these guys have been mentioning Kevin O'Connell, Raheem Morris, Patrick Graham, and D'Amico Ryans, and I think D'Amico Ryans dropped out. But now they're taking Jim Harbaugh seriously, and I'm going to show you why they're taking Harbaugh seriously. Trust me, we ain't done. All right. Um. So hold on a sec here. Okay, yeah. So we'll go. We'll go. All right. I'll do the Pelissero tweet before we get just for the. Okay, you know what? I'll do the Pelissero tweet after I do my Vikings tweet. All right. So continuing on. All right. Now Harbaugh, guys, if you think, because what people don't realize is there's a connection here. All right, and I'm gonna show y'all what's good. All right, let's continue on. Um, so then last night at 11:35 p.m., something he's not going to be the Vikings coach. I will bet you money, Viking Jerome. Let's go. So Clint last night, Clint Storner, oh, almost Stoner, but Clint Storner, and just because I always show y'all who these people are, there you go. Y'all know who he is, locked in. Right there, it all is. Sports radio, former Arkansas Razorback quarterback, played with the Cowboys, did SEC network stuff. He says John Harbaugh handed Jim Harbaugh, DC, Mike McDonald. Michigan had a credible year. John Harbaugh took DC, Mike McDonald back. Brothers don't do that if the plan is to stay the course. Jim is leaving Michigan for for an NFL job. Y'all can book it. Philip says, real time with reason, 2 out of your top 3 is going to be selected to be Miami head coach. You are again spot on. Your crystal ball is simply impressive. Appreciate you, Philip. Appreciate you, man. I like to think I have a pretty good thumb on the team. So anyways, and I've been telling y'all this didn't make sense. Him handing McDonald back did not make any sense after he'd only been there for a year. Again, they're keeping McDonald in the family, and he didn't want to bring him to the NFL. That was John's if he was going to go to the NFL, so he sent him back. And you know why? Because Fangio is still sitting on the open market, and that's Jim's guy at the NFL level. It's Fangio. And that's who it's going to be if wherever he goes as a DC. So, and then this came out this morning. And this was in Peter King's Monday morning article. Guys, I got evidence galore. This was in Peter King's article. Look at this. Jim Harbaugh might still be. This is this morning, guys. This is like 12 hours ago. Jim Harbaugh might still be in play. Heard some cryptic things about the Michigan coach over the weekend, including he's not likely to get the Vikings job, and yet one other job is in play. Huh. Who could that be? I don't know. Did Peter King remember his big expose article a couple months ago when he sat in with Brian Flores and Chris Greer and he's picking their brains apart? You remember that? And if he's in good standing with the organization, it would make sense why he's not naming them. And what have I told you since this process has started, which multiple outlets have confirmed? If they don't have to announce the interview in terms of a formal request because that coach is on a team right now, they're not going to announce it to us. They want to be tight-lipped about this. So who do you think the yet one other job is in play is? Who do you think that is? Who do you think? And Peter King is one of the most locked-on people in the NFL. Who do you think he's talking about? Look at CB83 knows what's good. Peter King, super plugged into the Dolphins organization. Who do you think Peter King's talking about? Yeah, Scotty. Yeah, Steve Rose is right. It ain't the Jags. I'll tell you that much. All right. So then that happens. All right. So, read the rest of it. Would Shad Khan take another shot at a famous college coach? Can't imagine. Houston, Miami, Stephen Ross? No, who knows? I hear a lot of weird things this time of year. All right. Now let's keep it going. Let's go back to who I showed you guys earlier. Adam Patrick. If you remember, editor for Fansided covering the Vikings at the Viking age. All right. And this is what he had to say today. And this is what I was talking about earlier. I wish I would have made a Patreon post as soon as I got this information, because what I'm about to show you, I literally heard not even a half hour before this guy posted it, and I knew exactly what was at play here, and I'm going to show you right now. This is it right now. And I'm going to go into depth on this as to why. I heard this exact same thing, and I'm so mad I did not put this on Patreon first. So mad. Anyways, there's some chatter that Jim Harbaugh is using the Vikings as a way to get an offer from the Dolphins or even that Minnesota's owners are helping Miami get Harbaugh so that Dolphins owner Stephen Ross can avoid massive backlash from Michigan. What did I tell you? When when Ross came out and told all of y'all, I will not be the man to take Harbaugh from Michigan, what did I tell each and every one of you? Well, what if Harbaugh says, I want to leave? Then what? And I was told this exact same thing by one of my most reliable sources about a half hour before. And then I looked into it. Did you know that Stephen Ross and the Vikings owner are both in New York real estate together? Did you know that they are very, very, very close friends? They are legitimate friends. So you got Peter King, who's so plugged in, telling us he's not going to get the job. And now we're being told that by a Vikings guy, not a Dolphins guy, by a Vikings guy, that he's hearing the same rumblings I'm hearing, a Miami guy. So a Miami guy and a Viking guy are hearing the same rumblings that the Vikings are being leveraged and it's being allowed by their owners, by Ross and Harbaugh against Michigan. And I heard this about a half hour before this came out. And now they're flying him out for an interview? What do you think they're doing? And look at when they plan to interview him. Wednesday after National Signing Day. And now Ross can swoop in. Because here's the thing. Ross doesn't need to have a sit-down interview him like the Vikings do. Ross knows who he's getting in Harbaugh. He's been chasing him for 10 years, and he was just at his alma mater. He doesn't need to hunt him down. It's right there. All he's got to do is bring him in and say, you want the job? Yup, boom. And then the question now becomes, what do you do with Greer? See? A lot of y'all were wondering, why is Flores gone but not Greer? It can't be just because he's a nice guy. And what have I been telling you Chris Greer is? He's a facilitator. If Harbaugh comes in, he's just going to execute Harbaugh's vision. That's all he's going to do. He's just, dude, if Harbaugh walks in that building, and Chris Greer has already told Garfinkel and Ross, with them publicly saying the next head coach is going to decide the quarterback situation, they're already publicly telling you Greer's conceding power to the next guy. And all they're doing right now is they're setting Michigan up. Irving says, damn, bro, I can't believe your theory is about to be proven correct. I don't know if it's going to be correct, but it's in motion. Because, guys, think to yourself. Go back to what Reasons told you and what's already publicly out there. He turned us down because his wife wanted to stay on the West Coast after Stanford. That's why they went to San Francisco. His wife wants to stay in that glitz and glamour warm weather. You think she wants to go to fucking Minnesota or Miami? Let me know where you think the wife wants to go. Minnesota or Miami? Bro, this man's not going to coach in Minnesota. Stop it right now. Miami has a better nucleus. We have more cash available. He doesn't have an overrated 30 some odd $1 million quarterback. No way. No way. That job is not even... Dude, the Jags job is more appealing than Minnesota. At least you got Trevor Lawrence and young pieces over there. Come on. Like, let's be honest with ourselves right now. All right? Minnesota is the last place this guy and his wife want to end up at. Come on, stop right now. I will bet anyone right now that he is not the Vikings head coach by the end of this. And then it was reported just moments ago by Tom Pelissero. The smoke screen continues. The Vikings plan to fly in Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh for an interview Wednesday in Minnesota, per sources. The side spoke Saturday. You really think Ross is going to sit back and let this unfold? You really think he's going to let this guy leave Michigan and go to an NFL team with not getting a seat at the table? This guy got a seat at the table with Peyton Manning. With Peyton Manning had already made up his mind that he's going to Denver. Why? Because Ross got the juice. Ross got the money. Ross got the influence, and Ross got the tie. So you're saying his alma mater head coach of the university no one donates more money to, and there's like 9 buildings on campus named after him. Harbaugh is not going to sit at the table with him when Ross is the one who facilitated Harbaugh's move to Michigan? Are we that naive right now? This is just showing the interest in going back to the NFL. Now Stephen Ross can turn around and say, listen, I didn't take him from Michigan. I didn't want him to leave. But if he was going to go to the NFL, I wasn't going to let him go to another team. Which is what I told you would be the play from the beginning if he was going to come back. Guys, if he just came out and all he did was interview with the Miami Dolphins and that was it. Dude, the Vegas job was more appealing than Minnesota, but Harbaugh let the Vegas job go to Josh McDaniels. It made the Vegas job. They just made the playoffs. That job is more appealing. But he said, yeah, I'm good. I'll go interview with Minnesota. No, they're setting it up. Minnesota's interviewing him on his time, and he's putting it out there that he's wanting to come back, and he wants Ross to make a play for him. And that's exactly what's about to happen. So, miss me with it's just Minnesota. If he's just entertaining Minnesota, he'll stay in Michigan. Let me put it that way. And if it's Mike McDaniel in the long run, I'm just as happy because, again, when it came to experience, my number one guy was Harbaugh. When it came to a new head coach with no experience, McDaniel was my number one guy. So either way I win, I'm good. But I'm telling you right now, this is in motion because they are leveraging Michigan right now. Ross and the Vikings owners are great friends. I just showed you a report from a credible Vikings reporter saying that he's hearing the same rumblings I'm hearing, that it's basically so they can show Michigan there's legit NFL interest and Harbaugh wants to go back to the NFL. So, hey, instead of him going to Minnesota, I'm going to swoop in and take him. Literally. Harbaugh is leveraging with Vikings to either get an offer from the Dolphins, and he wants, and the word is that Minnesota's owners could be helping Miami get Harbaugh so the Dolphins owner Steve Ross can avoid backlash from Michigan. I've heard that, and now it's been reported out there. And I wish I would have put it out there first. I really do. I really wish I put it out there first. Guys, and then I'm going to show you guys this. At 6:30, I was told that one of my people is going to be calling me a little bit because they just heard Miami has eyes on Harbaugh, has had eyes on Harbaugh all along, and quote unquote, Stephen Ross fooled everyone. So I mean, I was told that at 6:30, and I gotta call that person when I'm done here and get some more information. So I might upload whatever I'm told onto the Patreon if it's anything worth it. Can you see Harbaugh pursuing Watson? Sure, it makes sense. I told y'all, Tua, Alex Smith with a higher ceiling, Watson, the elite version of Colin Kaepernick's skill set, better processor, higher football IQ. He would make sense. But I think Harbaugh might actually want to build the roster. So, and someone's asking, has Harbaugh mellowed out since his days? Listen, I got it. Get the likes up. There is 923 people in the room. Let's get those likes up. I want to get up to like 500 here today. Let's go. Guys, and I agree, Pyro, chess, not checkers, baby. But you said cheese. I don't know what you're talking about. But listen, someone just asked, they had a question in the comments, and I got a couple things I want to go over still, okay? Has Harbaugh mellowed out? Listen, listen. Harbaugh didn't get along with Trent Baalke. He hated Trent Baalke, the current GM in Jacksonville, and Baalke is the reason why Jacksonville is currently having an issue getting a head coach. I mean, they were ready to sign, seal, and deliver Byron Leftwich, but he wanted Baalke out, and that's become an issue, and their coaching search has continued. He wanted Baalke gone. So, all right, let's continue on. Let's get into the articles here. I got 3 articles I want to go over because all of a sudden the media is turning. Some of these people are turning now. Big O, if you're listening, you're the last one out there. Come join the dark side. They are courting Harbaugh to at least some degree, my friend. Come join the dark side. Everyone else is. So Armando put out this article, and he has a really interesting little line. Shout out to my graphic guy, David, for pointing this out to me. And I want to get to this line, and we're really going to talk about this. On the field of Hard Rock Stadium on New Year's Eve, Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh was talking with some friends and acquaintances he's known for years. People have coached in the NFL, led teams to the NFL Conference Championships on the personnel side, and others. And Harbaugh told them all he intended to remain the Wolverines coach. He told them he had no intention of jobbing back to the NFL, except Jim Harbaugh interviewed for the Minnesota Vikings head coaching job over the weekend, except Jim Harbaugh would welcome a chance to coach the Miami Dolphins. And so that is something of a mystery brewing. What we have is people in Ann Arbor and at various NFL outposts not sure exactly how to address the possible NFL return of a coach who spent 4 years with the San Francisco 49ers and took them to the Super Bowl while winning 69.5% of his games, and then spent the last 7 years at Michigan winning 71.7% of his games. He will be the coach of the Ross Wolverines or the Ross Dolphins, a plugged-in former Dolphins employee told Outkick.com over the weekend. Ross is Dolphins owner Stephen Ross, a Michigan alumnus and one of the school's biggest donors. Ross's love of Harbaugh is no secret. He tried to hire him to the Dolphins head coach in 2021, infamously flying across the country to Palo Alto to try and convince him to jump to Miami, even as he had Tony Sparano occupying the coach's chair back in South Florida. And when that move didn't work for whatever reason, Ross was thrilled when Harbaugh took the Michigan job in 2015. Ross wants Harbaugh to remain at Michigan. He's told him as much per sources close to Harbaugh. And he said so during press conference to announce the firing of head coach Brian Flores early this month. Jim Harbaugh, I love Jim Harbaugh, Ross said. He had the opportunity once before to come to the Miami Dolphins, but he's at the University of Michigan, as everybody really knows. That is a school that I graduated from, and I'm very involved in it. And I'm not going to be the person that takes Jim Harbaugh from the University of Michigan. I hope he stays there. He's a great coach. And this is where more mystery comes into play. Multiple sources, both within the NFL and the college ranks, believe Harbaugh either in cahoots with the Dolphins and Vikings or just on his own is running an end around to get the Dolphins' job. Here's how it worked per the sources. Ross would never hire Harbaugh away from Michigan because it would hurt his school. But if Harbaugh is leaving Michigan to become a head coach elsewhere, like Minnesota, Ross would feel free to step in. That scenario would give Ross cover to say he didn't take the head coach from his alma mater, but instead from another NFL team. And what role do the Vikings have in this? According to a source, the Will family, which owns the Vikings, are friendly with Ross. Ziggy Wilf earned his fortune as a New York and New Jersey real estate developer. Ross is a New York real estate developer. The pair travel in the same New York society circles. So, is it possible the Vikings are setting the stage for a Harbaugh NFL narrative, which would allow Ross to swoop in and land a proven big name head coach? Other Dolphins sources say it's not as easy as that because there are internal reservations about Harbaugh and the Dolphins organization. They say Harbaugh is hard to deal with, and the Dolphins just fired Flores, not because he was losing too much, but primarily he was hard to deal with. This, however, comes from the perspective of people who understand a Harbaugh arrival would detriment to their power and possibly even their job. See, there you go. So people worried about their job are saying, oh, well, I don't know, he's hard to deal with. It's clear Harbaugh would not come to the Dolphins and serve under current general manager Chris Grier. Harbaugh has his own personnel department people in mind. And while people the Dolphins have leaked to the media that they intend to have the next coach inherit much of the current defensive staff, Harbaugh has his own designs on a coaching staff. A source has said he's already contacted former, I've told y'all this, Broncos head coach Vic Fangio about being defensive coordinator if he jumps to the NFL. Fangio was Harbaugh's defensive coordinator at both Stanford and San Francisco. Ross, meanwhile, has been quite loyal to Grier, despite mediocre results on the field and in the personnel department the 6 years he's been the general manager. Ross retained Grier over both Gase and Flores when those two coaches were fired. Amid Harbaugh rumors, Grier has helped conduct a coaching search that is set for second interviews with offensive coordinator from San Francisco, Mike McDaniel, and Dallas offensive coordinator Kellen Moore this week. Both of those first-time head coach candidates would probably agree to inherit a defensive staff and Grier because, well, they're not exactly turning away other head coaching offers so far. The mystery is set to reach its critical moments this week. Harbaugh will be done with signing day after Wednesday, and the Dolphins and Vikings are free to continue the interviews with rather unproven head coaching candidates. What happens next will be interesting to see. So, I mean, even there, look at what we're dealing with right now. I mean, I'm telling you, this is at play right now. Don't think they're going to sit back and hire McDaniel right away just because, you know, Harbaugh hasn't decided yet. They want to see what Harbaugh does. Guys, I've told you this before. Ross has been chasing Harbaugh for 10 years. He's been chasing him as hard and as long as he's been chasing a franchise quarterback. Sit back and put that into perspective. Like, put that into perspective, man. Now, I'm fine with McDaniel. Give me McDaniel or Harbaugh. These are my top two guys, basically. So, because Caldwell was never an option. But I'm hearing Harbaugh's staff is Fangio and Pep Hamilton right now. Rob says, I'd rather have McDaniels and draft a QB in this year's draft for insurance purposes. Hey, man, you guys don't get. I'm just reporting what I hear. I'm fine with either guy. If we're going first time head coach, McDaniel's been my dude since the beginning of this process. If we're going experienced, Harbaugh's been the guy I've wanted. And if Harbaugh is going to bring in Pep Hamilton and Vic Fangio, show me someone who's going to say no. You can't. And Harbaugh is going to clean out. The only thing Here's the sticky point with cleaning out Chris Greer. I got 2 more articles we got to get into. But here's the sticky point with the Greer thing. Ask yourself, do you want to risk losing Marvin Allen and Reggie McKenzie? Ask yourself that. Do you want to risk losing Reggie McKenzie and Marvin Allen? And, there's only 2 quarterbacks this year that I really like. I like Malik Willis, but he measured in under 6'1" today. Everyone knows I love Sam Howell, but he's under 6. He measured in under 6'1". There was no quarterbacks over 6'4" that measured in today at the Senior Bowl. And I don't know if people saw, but Kenny Pickett refused to have his hand measured, and that's because of his double jointed thumb. The word on the street is that he's going to measure at about 8.5 inches, around there. Next year is the year where you want to draft a QB, in my personal opinion. Next year is the year, right? Like, even look at Harbaugh. He inherited Alex Smith, and he waited him out. But everyone knows I love me some Will Levis from Kentucky. He'll be out next year. C.J. Stroud from Ohio State. Grayson McCall from Coastal Carolina. Bryce Young from Alabama. Jake Hanner from Fresno State. Spencer Rattler from South Carolina. Jaron Hall from BYU. If you want to go lefty again, Dylan Gabriel. Kellen Slovis will be out of Pittsburgh next year. So the class next year looks like it might be a little bit better. So, yeah, next year is where you got to look at it into it, right? Next year is where you want to look into a quarterback. But I don't want to go down that route. We want to go down this development. Now, if it's a new head coach, I get it, but fuck, I don't want to go down that route. Pardon my language, my friends. All right, continuing on, let's get into it. Alain Poupart has changed his course. All right. Oh, so is someone else here that's going to surprise everyone. But Alain Poupart has changed his course now. He dropped an article today, basically discussing everything. And he said Harbaugh to Dolphins in play and why it would be a good move. The Miami Dolphins reportedly are set to conduct second interviews with Mike McDaniel and Kellen Moore early this week as they continue to search for a new head coach. But the candidate to watch remains Jim Harbaugh. There's been no reported formal interview involving Dolphins and Harbaugh, but sources indicate the possibility of Harbaugh coming to Miami is very real and getting closer to a reality. And guys, remember, Alain Poupart, he used to actually work for the Miami Dolphins. So, I mean, say what you will about the guy and his opinions, but he used to actually work for the team. So I would imagine he's plugged in. Ross vowed during the press conference to announce the firing of Brian Flores that he would not be the man to take Harbaugh away from the University of Michigan, where the business school bears his name. But the reported discussion between Harbaugh and the Minnesota Vikings over the weekend has given Ross an out, so to speak. With Harbaugh having spoken to the Vikings, now Ross can later say he didn't take Harbaugh away from Michigan because Harbaugh was already looking to get back to the NFL. And based on a report Monday from ESPN Adam Schefter, Harbaugh isn't considered a serious candidate for the Vikings opening. And this is what Schefter had to say.
Well, Jay, they've talked. I think that the Minnesota Vikings right now look focused in other areas. They are flying out to California to interview both of the Rams coordinators, the defensive coordinator, Raheem Morris, the offensive coordinator, Kevin O'Connell. And yes, there was contact with Harbaugh, and yes, he may have some interest in the right opportunity if it were to come along. But I don't sense that there's anything close with Jim Harbaugh and the Minnesota Vikings at this time. And I don't even know that we will get to that point ever, that it'll become an issue. But, of course, he's a huge name. He's got a huge resume. He's at a big school. And so people want to know when his name comes up what the latest is. But I can tell you right now, the Vikings head coaching search is looking in other directions at this time. Always come back to Jim Harbaugh, and we'll see what happens here. But they're on the coast talking to the Rams coordinators tonight.
Okay, so that was at 1:25. That was 8 hours ago. And now they're flying him out. And Schefter's one of the most plugged in people out there. So what does all of a sudden change? It's because It's because look at what's happening. They're now pushing Harbaugh to the NFL is becoming a serious thing, and this furthers along that process. This furthers along that narrative that now I can snatch him. So, in case you're skeptical of the Harbaugh possibility because he hasn't been publicly identified as a candidate through national reports, he's a favorite to become the next Dolphins head coach at um at half per betonline.ag, followed by McDaniel at 3. Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. He's giving one out of 2 odds, and then McDaniel 3-2 odds, and more at 4-1 odds. Harbaugh's interest in returning to I've never seen it. Why just put -5? Why is he doing that? Makes it look like half. One to like I don't know why he'd do that. Anyways, Harbaugh's interest in returning to the NFL has been out for about a month. And Ross already went after him in 2011 when Dolphins coach Tony Soprano was under contract before Harbaugh instead took the job as coach for the 49ers. Leading Harbaugh would be a big coup for the Dolphins based on his track record, starting with what he did during his time with the 49ers. 4 seasons in San Francisco, Harbaugh compiled a 44-19-1 record for a .695 winning percentage that ranks 5th in NFL history, behind only those of Guy Chamberlain, John Madden, Vince Lombardi, and George Allen. So now Elaine's flipped, but here's another one who's flipped who he's been pretty dug in that, yeah, this isn't happening. Harbaugh's a pipe dream. Get it out of your head, blah, 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 blah. And that's Omar Kelly. Omar Kelly has flipped. And the sentiment in the NFL is not if, but when will Jim Harbaugh return to the league? And that raises the question about what team and what situation is right for the University of Michigan coach. Harbaugh has reportedly wrapped up an interview with Minnesota Vikings, who recently hired Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, who once worked with Harbaugh in San Francisco and was the 49ers manager of football research and development as the team's new general manager. Whether Harbaugh, who led the 49ers to a 44-19-1 record in 4 seasons, took them to the Super Bowl in his second year, would accept the job if offered is unclear. According to league sources, there has been some level of communication with the Miami Dolphins, who are owned by Stephen Ross, who happens to be one of the University of Michigan's biggest boosters. But Harbaugh has not formally interviewed for the Dolphins job. Ross and Harbaugh have a relationship, and the Dolphins owner previously stated that if an NFL team lured Harbaugh from Michigan, it wasn't going to be Miami. But with Harbaugh seriously considering making a move to the pro, which would certainly pay him more than the $4 million annual salary he's slated to make with the Wolverines each of the next 4 years, the prevailing thought is that Ross will make a second effort to land one of his favorite coaches. The Dolphins previously pursued Harbaugh before the 2011 season when Harbaugh was leaving Stanford for an NFL job, but Harbaugh chose the 49ers because his wife wanted to stay on the West Coast. And Ross' pursuit of the former NFL starting quarterback created an embarrassing situation considering Miami hadn't fired yet Tony Soprano. The pursuit of Harbaugh created a rift between Soprano and then general manager Jeff Ireland, who coached 13 games that season before being fired and replaced by Joe Philbin eventually. Ross and any other teams pursuing Harbaugh would likely have to make him one of the NFL's highest paid coaches and presumably giving him full control of football operations. The Dolphins fired Brian Flores at the conclusion of his 3rd season and retained general manager Chris Grier. But Chris Grier's egoless persona likely won't make it difficult for him to work with Harbaugh, who left the 49ers despite never producing a losing season because of issues with management. The Dolphins, who have just had 7 winning seasons and 3 postseason appearances in the past 2 decades, are being extremely secretive about their coaching search. The sentiment around the NFL is that the 3-week-old search for Flores' replacement isn't going well. I'm telling you, it's by design. The Dolphins had a narrow search field, which excluded veteran NFL coaches like Doug Peterson, Marvin Lewis, and Jim Caldwell. They interviewed 3 candidates with head coaching experience: Dan Quinn, Leslie Frazier, and Vance Joseph, but none of them reportedly are finalists for the job. Brian Daboll, the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, who was viewed as the front runner to replace Flores, accepted the Giants head coach position before Miami began its second round of in-person interviews, and they never offered him the job, contrary to what people on Twitter might try to tell you. Ross typically prefers to hire young and hungry coaches, and that has led to him hiring 3 straight former assistants who possess no head coaching experience. Philbin, Gase, and Flores all struggled putting together a quality staff, and it's possible that the 2 candidates who are slated for a second interview, Mike McDaniel and Kellen Moore, would have similar issues. Harbaugh won't have those issues. While he's known for having a quirky personality, his body of work and experience would likely help him assemble a quality coaching staff. According to a leaked source, Harbaugh has held surface-level conversations with a few assistants he'd be interested in hiring if he did return to the NFL. However, it's understood he's not a lock to return this season because there are seemingly some concerns that the Vikings and Dolphins might not be the right fit for him. The 58-year-old Harbaugh, who won AP Coach of the Year, is coming off his best season at his alma mater. The Wolverines finally beat arch-rival Ohio State, winning the school's first Big Ten title in 17 years and made the college football playoff. In his 7 years at Michigan, Harbaugh has gone 61-24, but he hasn't led the program to the prominence like expected. It is possible that a rework deal with Michigan, which trimmed his $8 million a year salary in half in 2021, could deter him from making the jump back to the NFL. So even Omar is kind of singing his tune and switching a little bit more to Harbaugh is a real possibility. This is actually could potentially go down. Listen, guys, I don't know what's going to happen in the long run. I do know it's going to be Harbaugh or McDaniel. I don't think it's going to be Kellen Moore by any stretch of the imagination. I'm going to keep digging. I mean, like I told you guys, when I saw that tweet on Sunday, about Harbaugh and the Dolphins, when I checked with my source, I was told he's definitely a possibility and he's absolutely in the mix right now for the Dolphins. And, I told you guys last week when I said, if they let Dabble walk or if Dabble's sticking around and McDaniel's sticking around and if Dan Quinn's sticking around, if Dan Quinn, they interviewed him once, they clearly told him he wasn't a finalist because he wouldn't have just gone back to Dallas. But if all these guys were sticking around and they were playing patty cake and sitting on their hands, there had to be a reason. They're not just going to sit back and slow play it for the sake of slow playing it and watch every guy they want drop off. That makes no sense. That makes no sense whatsoever. So where I'm at with this right now is the Harbaugh stuff is real. The theory that I pitched to you guys looks like it's actually in motion right now. And thank God I put out a video before Flores got fired that Ross might pursue Harbaugh if he comes to the NFL. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there's no way he's going to let him just walk to Minnesota without trying to draw him to Miami. There's just absolutely no way. And if you believe that, listen, I got a beachfront property in the Antarctic to sell you if that's what you believe. Okay? There is no way. And if he's going to bring Vic Fangio and Pep Hamilton, my God, make him the highest paid coach in the NFL. So, and like I said, McDaniel or Harbaugh, whichever one comes in, and whatever decision they decide to make moving forward with the Dolphins head coaching position, I will follow that 110% because I believe they will get the minds in the building that will turn this offense around. I truly believe that. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to drop the link if some of you guys want to come backstage and just chop it up with me after the show. I'll drop the link, but I'm going to get out of here. I've reached about an hour and a half. I love each and every one of you. I'm going to be back tomorrow night. We got some things in the works we're going to be working on here. And this head coaching search, I really think it's going to pick up steam. And if people want me to put a finger on it, I think we might, have answers here by Thursday and Friday. I really think this week we're going to start getting a good idea of where we're heading down the path of the head coaching search. But man, I appreciate each and every one of you. We had about just under 1,000 people in the room today. We had over 990 people in the room today. Smash that like button, subscribe if you're new. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'll be back tomorrow night, and I'll be back Thursday night, and I'll be back Friday night. And if anything breaks, y'all already know what time it is. I'll bring it to your doorstep. I see a couple of you already loading up in the back, so we'll get to talking. Appreciate each and every one of you. Like I said, love y'all. And you already know what it is. Fins up all day, every day, baby. I will see each and every one of y'all tomorrow night.